Mitchell learned very quickly that silence could be louder than insults. At Kingsbridge, nobody openly called her poor. They did not need to. The way conversation stopped when she approached, the way laughter resumed just a second too late, the way I slid over her shoes and bag and uniform as if taking inventory, those things spoke clearly enough. She told herself she was imagining it. She had always been good at surviving by minimizing pain. If you pretended something didn't hurt, sometimes it listened. But pain at Kingsbridge was creative. By the second week, people had started forgetting her name. She was the scholarship girl, said in tones that sounded curious on the surface but sharp underneath. Teachers were kind but distant, careful not to seem biased. Students smiled politely, the way people smiled at charity drives. Except Eric. He still sat beside her. Still waited for her after class. Still listened when she spoke. It unsettled people. You know, he said one afternoon as they walked toward the library, everyone thinks you're mysterious. Mitchell laughed softly. I'm not mysterious. I'm just quiet. That's the mystery, he replied, grinning. You don't try to impress anyone. She glanced at him. Does it look like I can afford to? He stopped walking. Mitchell realized immediately that she had said too much. I didn't mean, she began. I know, Eric said gently. But you shouldn't have to think like that. She shrugged. Thinking like that keeps me alive. He studied her for a moment, something unreadable passing across his face. For the first time, he wondered what it must feel like to walk through the world without a safety net. From across the courtyard, Samantha watched them again. She hated how close they walked. She hated how easily Mitchell laughed with him. Most of all, she hated that Eric looked at Mitchell the way he had once looked at her, like she was interesting, not just beautiful. Samantha was not used to losing attention, so she adjusted her strategy. The rumors became softer, harder to catch. She's pretending to be humble. She's using him. Poor girls are always desperate. Mitchell heard fragments of them, like pieces of glass under her skin. She focused harder on her studies, pouring herself into books, staying late in the library until the sun dipped low and the halls emptied. One evening, she fell asleep over her notes. She woke to find a jacket draped over her shoulders. Eric was sitting across from her, his chin resting on his palm, watching her with a small smile. You snore a little, he said. Her eyes widened. I do not. You do, he replied cheerfully. It's cute. She groaned, covering her face. Please tell me no one heard. Relax, he said. It was just us. And the books. She smiled despite herself. It scared her how comfortable she felt with him. Comfort was dangerous. Comfort made you forget to protect yourself. The next morning, she found a note inside her locker. Remember where you came from. Her hands shook as she crumpled it. She told no one. The first time Eric realized something was wrong, it was because Mitchell stopped laughing. She still smiled, still answered questions, still showed up early to class, but the lightness was gone. She moved carefully now, like someone walking across thin ice. You're quieter than usual, he said one afternoon. She shrugged. I'm just tired. He wanted to believe her. He almost did. But then he overheard Samantha laughing in the corridor, her voice sharp with satisfaction. People should know their place, she said. Kingsbridge is not a soup kitchen. Something inside him hardened. That evening, he confronted Samantha. What's your problem? He asked bluntly. She looked genuinely surprised. My problem? Yes. With Mitchell. Samantha smiled slowly. Is that what she's calling herself now? Mitchell. He frowned. Leave her alone. Samantha laughed softly. You're defending her. Eric, she's using you. That's not true. You think she'd even look at you if you want a lesson? He stepped closer. Say that again. Samantha tilted her head, her eyes cold now. You're embarrassing yourself. He walked away before he said something unforgivable. The next day, Mitchell was summoned to the administrative office. She stood in front of the secretary's desk, her heart pounding. Yes, she asked quietly. You're to see the principal, the woman said without looking up. Mitchell's stomach twisted. Inside the office, Principal Houghton folded his hands and sighed. There have been complaints, he said. Serious ones. He slid a file across the desk. Mitchell opened it and felt the room spin. Screenshots. Messages. Claims. Accusations she did not recognize, attached to her name. I didn't do this, she whispered. We will investigate, the principal said carefully. But until then, your scholarship status is under review. Her ears rang. Outside, Samantha smiled as Mitchell walked past, pale and shaken. That night, Mitchell returned home to find her mother waiting, fear written all over her face. A letter lay open between them. Mitchell didn't need to read it twice. Her knees buckled. And somewhere across the city, Eric's father read the same report and decided that whatever this girl was, she was trouble. Mitchell did not wake up that morning. Her eyes opened, but waking required intention, and she had none. The ceiling above her looked the same as it always had, cracked in long, stubborn lines that reminded her of dry land refusing rain. She traced one crack with her eyes, then another, until they blurred together. The sound of the street crept in slowly, as though the world was testing whether she was still alive. A bus horn blared. Someone laughed. A generator roared to life. Life, it seemed, had no respect for heartbreak. Her body felt heavy, as though the letter had settled inside her chest and turned into stone. The words replayed themselves without mercy. Scholarship under review. Under review sounded polite. Gentle. Temporary. But Mitchell understood what it really meant. You can be removed. She turned her face toward the wall.